Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's late night happy hour here on ESPN Los Angeles. Brian Kamenetsky and Andy Kamenetsky joined momentarily by Ben Lyons. Andy, our very first guest. Tonight is our 53rd show, which is kind of crazy. 53 shows, and we're going back to the beginning. We're bringing back our first guest, Ben Lyons.
Yeah, Ben Lyons, we've decided he is Bill Murray to our David Letterman because David Letterman, his first show on the old NBC, like the late night show that he had, Bill Murray was guest one. Then when he moved to CBS, Bill Murray was also guest one, and Bill Murray had been a bunch of different special occasion guests. So that is Ben Lyons. He is Bill Murray to our David Letterman, which would be exceptionally high praise for both of us, and I will take it.
Yeah, for sure. Still working on this thing where, because our device, our thing that allows us to do this broadcast, it updated itself. And because of it, now I'm doing the show through my phone as opposed to through my computer. I don't know why, but I am. So it's a little bit weird for me to have to try to keep my phone in the right way. But I'm going to do the best I can. So a lot, Andy, we're going to have a lot to talk about with Ben tonight. He, of course, as he likes to keep under his hat, though, is a New Yorker. Doesn't really like talking about that. Yeah, no, he's originally from New York. Lives out here now. Originally from New York, something he tends to keep under his hat.
Does he follow New York basketball?
He does, and I think he's joining in. I just saw my screen move. So is that Ben trying to get in? There he is.
There he is.
One,
what's up, guys?
2, 3, and there's Ben in the center square right there. Very exciting. I'm gonna rewrite my tweet, which was gonna be moments away from Ben Lyons joining the show. He's here now. Ben, we invited you on tonight for a few reasons. We were talking about it. Oh, nice. Very nice.
Nice.
Is that a Sydney Kings hat?
Look at you.
Yeah, Sydney Kings, Andrew Bogut.
That's
I'm
right.
keeping my eye on what's going down in Australia now. So
very few teams have the Opera House on their logo other than the Sydney Kings.
Nothing strikes fear in the heart of an opponent like culture.
I'm not hearing Ben for some reason.
I don't know. Drop out and come back. That sometimes helps.
Okay. Right.
So, Ben, we have a lot of reasons that we invited you on. The first one, obviously, it's our 53rd show. And whenever that happens, whenever you have a 53rd show, you always go back and you invite somebody who was there at the beginning. That's you. So it's tradition. And, we're all Jews and we love tradition. That's just how we roll. So now, Andy, Ben, talk to Andy.
Tradition.
Ben, say something
Happy
to Andy.
50th show, guys. I'm really honored to be able to celebrate with you.
Now I can hear Ben.
All right,
Perfect.
Also, Ben, other reasons we invited you.
Really
First of
hear
all,
you guys.
oh, now you can't hear us?
You sound like you're a little underwater.
Oh,
Should I
sorry.
try to leave the room and come back?
Yeah, why not?
We'll come back. It's a happy hour. Why not? All right, I'll be back.
All right, there goes
All
Ben.
right.
And as soon as Ben gets back, Andy, I've got visual effects that we're going to work here. Not off to a rousing start quite yet, but Ben will come back. Here he comes. I'm just going to hit the button again. Here goes A,
Wow.
B, and C.
Look at this. This is like Ben's J-Lo moment. He's got a costume change already. We're 3 minutes into this show.
And that's an old school Memphis Grizzlies hat. Very good. What else you got, Bryant Reeves? He still can't hear us.
I can't hear Ben.
That's because he's not talking. Or is he talking?
Okay. He is talking. I can't hear him.
Are you muted? Neither one of us can hear him. Make sure you're not muted.
I'll text him and say make sure he's not muted. It's a good outlet.
He
That
says
is a
he's
strong
not
outlet.
muted. He says he's not muted.
Interesting.
I like that you went from Sydney Kings to Memphis Grizzlies, or Vancouver Grizzlies, I think. That was old school. And now just what appears to be a black hat. And here he goes to the 2017 NBA Finals. Finals that did not feature his New York Knicks.
I feel like if Ben has enough hats, it may not matter if we can hear him or not.
No, this might be better. How many? Does he have an hour's worth of hats? Here we go.
I feel like he does. I feel like Ben actually has enough hats that we can do that. It's essentially a silent movie.
Man, I wish I knew. I'm afraid if I leave the room and come back, the whole show stops. I'm fairly sure that's actually what happens.
I think that is what happened.
All right, so Ben's going to try and come back.
That's a lot of
It may be what's required, Andy, of course, technically speaking, but then that's still not a good solution to the problem. All right, here we go. Fingers crossed. 1,
a lot of hats.
2, 3. Ben Lyons. Oh! We're gonna have to do this like that show that Gritty hosts on the Philadelphia Flyers mascot, where he writes everything down on a piece of poster board. That's to me the only way we hear from Ben Lyons. Wait, let me try one thing. Ben. What happened is the program updated itself. All right, and you're sure you're not muted? I can hear Andy. Invite video. If I leave the room, the broadcast is going to stop. So I'm afraid to do that. You're like a cat on a poster, Ben. Here, let me show you some of the things that we have, though, in your honor, because not only is it, it's Bobby Bonilla Day. So can you see that? It's Bobby Bonilla Day. We did that just for you. We had a little Bobby Bonilla celebration. You should be able to see that. And when that's done, we're going to go to that because it's J.R. Smith time with the Lakers. And so, of course, Ben Lyons is an expert in J.R. Smith. So that's going to be exciting once we can figure all this out. See all these special treats that we've got for you, Ben. We just have to make the show work. Take out your headphones. See what happens. Just pull them. Pull them from your computer or your thing. Are they unplugged? Ah, he's unplugged. Huh. Damn it.
This is weird. We've never had this before. This is a very strange thing. And what a terrible way, by the way, to celebrate Ben as our return guest. Although there probably were some technical issues with Ben the first time around, so I guess it is a little bit apropos.
I do
like this is sort of a tradition unlike any other.
This may be his fault.
You think it's Ben's fault?
It might be.
Are we going to throw Ben under the bus for this?
We might. Oh,
are we back?
Is this oh, wait a minute. Yes, there he is.
There it is. Perfect. It's
What
perfect.
did you do different? What did you do differently?
I just used my phone instead of my lousy computer. So
That's
sorry.
Oh, there it is.
That computer
But
sucks.
you had to have expected that there were going to be some technical difficulties. Like
we were just saying that. We were just saying, like, because the first time around there were some technical difficulties, I believe, with you as well. So this is sort of like a tradition unlip any other.
I mean, it's a 53rd show, guys. It's a 53rd show. Let's make it a good one, you know?
Yeah, so, I mean, it is, you are a New Yorker. It is, of course, Bobby Bonilla Day. So we want to just wish you a happy Bobby Bonilla Day. I think we can all agree that nobody has a life that's better than Bobby Bonilla, even somebody who gets their liquor delivered by vsliquor.com, where if you use the code SPORTS, you get 15% off your first order. Even Bobby Bonilla, a guy who collects $1.19 million every July 1st between now and the year 4000, can always use a little bit of a discount on his liquor. So there you go.
Can we get the 30 for 30 on Bobby Bonilla's agent? Like, who did this deal?
Well, you know how this happened.
Who are their other clients?
This is
I don't really know.
It's all Bernie Madoff stuff. Like, this is something that the Mets agreed to when they thought that they were going to be rolling in money forever. And so they just agreed to pay him out $1.9 million, 1.19 for the next, like, 30 years.
It's a great day. It's a great day for America. It's a great day for Bobby. Great day for the New York Yankee fans out there who just love seeing the Mets reminded of this day. It's a reminder to all of us, right? It's like, play the long game, right? You're in it to win it. Don't take that short money.
It's unbelievable.
Go ahead, Eddie.
The idea, though, of knowing every year, like once a year, every year, you're going to wake up $1 million richer no matter what you do. Like, everything that you screw up the other 364 days will not get in the way of you being $1 million richer. Like, that's an amazing feeling. That's an amazing situation.
Not like out there showing us what he's doing with that money. Where is he on social media? Is he taking his check and doing stuff with it? Like, we don't really know. We just know it's kind of out there in the ethos.
The other thing that I think is what it really becomes is kind of a referendum on what kind of person are you? Because theoretically, obviously, the 1.19 is slightly less valuable every year. But the flip side is, like Andy says, you know it's coming every year. So are you the type of person who is better off getting the lump sum payment where you get more net, it's worth more to you, or would you rather take a little bit less but know that you always have that million coming? If I'm already rich, especially, I'd rather know that the million's coming every year.
Yeah, I love knowing the million's coming every year because then I can just roll the dice with the other 364 days of the year, right? Like, as long as I'm staying above a million for those 364, I'm going to take some big swings. So,
But you just have to avoid going like way into debt, because even if you run your stuff down, I got 1.2 coming. Like, I just think that's an incredible luxury. If I was the guy who won the lottery, I wouldn't take the lump sum, I don't think. I think I would take the yearly payout, even though it's worth like significantly less. I like the stability of that.
Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Ben, you raised the idea, we don't know what Bobby Bonilla is doing. Like, is he on social media, whatever? Did a quick search on Twitter. He is, in fact, on social media. You can find him at Grand CRU5. That is Bobby Bonilla with a check mark. His right under his name, if you want it all, you'll never have enough. So I think that's kind of interesting in and of itself. Mm-hmm. Like, the idea that you want it all. If you get too greedy, you'll never have enough. He had the long-term vision for his money, but also he is a better person, I think, than all three of us, because I started doing a deep dive through his tweets, and he only has 84 of them. He's not a very prolific tweeter, but he never, on July 1st, at least the last few years, he's never celebrated or even acknowledged Bobby Bonilla Day. Because I know if I were Bobby Bonilla, I would at least be subtweeting my own holiday. Like, I'd put something out there on Twitter acknowledging, yeah, you all know I just got $1 million richer.
Yeah, Brian, you recognize, Brian, that I see only 84 tweets. He's not a complete sociopath like the rest of us that have like 30,000 tweets. Right.
But I would absolutely have my calendar remind me, though, like that tomorrow is Bobby Bonilla Day. Were I Bobby Bonilla?
I have my calendar that reminds me on Bobby Bonilla Day, so I can post some stuff because I think it's really one of the great stories in sports. So thanks for starting the show that way, guys.
We have upcoming a game, Ben, that I think you'll enjoy, because it became official today that J.R. Smith, former Nick great, I think you could even say,
shot 38% on Sundays at the Garden.
There you go. Is officially a Laker now, and they'll be taking him to Orlando along with Dion Waiters, and so this is, I think, a momentous occasion for the Lakers. We are going to play J.R. Smith trivia later in the show and find out who knows more about his Knicks tenure, you or Andy. So that's going to be upcoming, and if you lose, Ben, I think that could be one of the worst moments of your life.
Depends if the questions are about on the court or off the court activities.
They are it's all about his statistical output and plus some other Knicks trivia mixed in there, like stealth Knicks trivia.
What was the pipe era? Was that the Knicks or was that Cleveland?
That was the Knicks. The shoelaces were the Knicks. The driving a $400,000 Israeli military tank around New York City was with the Knicks. Yeah, there's a lot of great moments.
Are you at all disappointed that because of the pandemic that some of these things just are not going to be repeatable in Los Angeles?
In Los Angeles for JR, but I mean, who knows what the bubble provides opportunity for? This is a man who came into the NBA Finals on a hoverboard, right? So this is
true.
This is going to be really exciting for us
the pandemic tournament is like 90% downtime, so it's like he can't leave. But what can be brought in for JR, like specifically?
I don't know. Is Chris in the bubble? Does his brother get in the bubble?
Not initial. What are the rules about that? Can you bring your
I don't know. I think talking about Bobby
BYOB?
Bonilla Day, I think that guy's still on the payroll for the Knicks. The Knicks paid that guy $2 million.
To make sure people understand, you're talking about Chris Smith, JR's brother, who had a brief stint basically to appease JR.
The worst player in NBA history?
Chris Smith?
I don't think you could have a much worse run than being the Ozzie Canseco to Jose of J.R. Smith.
I just think it's amazing. Like, let's think about, like, Giannis has two brothers in the league because he's Giannis, and it's the best way to tamper. Like, I think we can all agree. I mean, it doesn't hurt. Which one? I don't even forget. I forget which one we have. We have Costas, right, in LA.
Yes, we have Costas.
The Knicks had
Theonis. The Knicks had Theonis, and Theonis is now. Yeah. Where is Theonis now?
I was on deck to win the championship.
Dallas.
Okay, Dallas. There you go.
Sure he's in Dallas.
So that's a thing, and but like, you remember when Goran Dragic demanded that Zoran be put on a roster?
Right. I want a 30 for 30 of that. When Goran basically said, if you want to get in the Goran Dragic business, you need to get in the Zoran Dragic business.
But
let's put them all in a house with like Dave Franco and Charlie O'Connell, like Seth Meyers' brother.
Oh,
and just like the whole crew. One of you guys, I don't know which one. It'd be great.
But like, is J.R. Smith getting, like, when you think about that, because it was not the first. He didn't invent get my brother in the league, but given like JR's position in the world and, you know, his relative skill and like his juice, like, is JR getting Chris Smith into the league the single greatest like coup ever? Like, talent.
That's what I'm saying. The fact that the state of the team that I root for thought that it was in his best interest moving forward to placate to a guy who has an Optimus Prime tattoo on his neck. I mean, it's, you know.
You know what it was? That was actually probably the most low-key, overlooked signal of the player empowerment movement. Like when even J.R. Smith can get his brother into the league on a team that's like, okay, let's just say we don't appease J.R. Smith. Like, what are we losing? Like, how much worse is it? It's not like this team needed J.R. in order to make sure they were ensuring their title chances. Like,
I knew the Knicks were doomed in 2014 when I saw Chris Smith in a club on crutches, and I was like, nah, this is not – they're not in a good headspace. Neither am I, but I'm not trying to compete for a championship.
So I think we can all agree that the Lakers aren't signing JR with the same level of expectations that the Knicks had back in the day. Like,
no, you
that
mean
is
when
not
he was
this.
the sixth man, when he was the sixth man of the year and he had the best year of his career thanks to Carmelo sharing the basketball? Yes, no, there's different expectations now for JR. However, you know, he fits right in with this cast of made guys. There are no mysteries really outside of Troy Daniels, I suppose. Everybody else
is not on the team.
Troy
isn't on the team.
He's not on the team, right? So
no, he's in Denver. He's in
Denver?
Yeah. Unless Denver had been waiting for something.
So there's no mysteries. Everybody's like a made guy on this team. Everybody's been around the block. And yes, he had that famous moment where he had a meltdown, and he had done that before with the Knicks, actually. I remember the cover of the Daily News. He had done that before. But he's a guy who's played in games, and he's a hooper, and he can hit shots. And if you have to stick him in, and who knows with this COVID bubble of how teams are going to have to adapt and lineup changes are going to have to be moved around, why not take a flyer on a guy that LeBron feels comfortable with? And
well, yeah, there's nobody else out there either. It's like, you know, you can't. It's not like you can run a bunch of guys through your facility right now and see who's like the best. Like, there's a pandemic out there. It's hard to get a guy from point A to point B. So if you know JR, like, you hope none of these guys ever have to play. And meanwhile, it lets us make JR and Dion jokes.
Oh, here's the thing, though. I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but the degree to which Ben loves and will automatically, reflexively take up for Carmelo Anthony just came through, where we saw Ben making fun of JR for 5 minutes, but then all of a sudden puff out his chest about the year that JR won Sixth Man of the Year, not to stick up for JR, but to celebrate Melo, the guy who enabled JR to win that award in the first place. Melo wasn't even part of this conversation, but Ben ended up working him in.
It's just to provide context. You just got to provide context.
No, it wasn't. Melo's your
guy. Basketball
history. I respect this. Melo's your guy. Like, you will never let a chance to take up for Melo past you. I've seen it on Twitter. Like, you never will.
It's just the disrespect is so real, you guys. It's all you Laker fans were excited when Joel Silver and Tobey Maguire made the movie, right? For him and to come play for the Lakers. Everybody wanted that.
Not us. We thought it was a terrible
idea. Terrible idea. Just a terrible idea.
It was an awful idea.
But yeah, I don't know. I love to be able to stand up for him because I feel like nobody does. I don't know if you guys have been watching his live stream show and have signed up for his newsletter. It's every Monday.
Carmelo Anthony has a newsletter.
Yes, it's about wine. It's just about wine.
Right. Okay.
Vineyards.
Then roughly how long each day does it take you to write it?
Well, depends on how much wine I drink. And if I'm getting my wine or Mellow wine.
I like Mellow.
Can you get Carmelo Anthony's wine delivered to you at vsliquor.com, the most convenient way to have liquor delivered right to your door, where you can get 15% off your first order if you put sports in the checkout code?
I think you can. I think you just did.
It's worth checking. I'll tell you what.
Look, I like Melo a lot too. Like, when the Lakers were after Melo, I didn't like it because I'm like, this makes no sense for this team. Like, I agree with you that Melo actually has reached.
Ben, where do I go to get this newsletter? I want to do that while we're talking.
If thisismellow.com probably.
Okay. All right. I'll find it. You guys carry on.
Or just go to I am Ben Lyons. Like, you can probably find it there. There's a link.
I know in an NBA season that's been upside down and filled with lots of craziness, I think Melo's return is one of the positive storylines of the year that people were.
No, that I would actually agree with. Now, do you think does he hang it up after this year though?
No,
I think he keep going.
Another shot somewhere. I don't know if it'll be in Oregon. It depends on what the Pinot grapes do this season. If Golden State makes some moves and there's a much better, vintage in the Anderson Valley or Napa, he might go down to Golden State. I found a stack, guys, of Skybox, these are Fleer, like an old school.
Oh, wow.
12 cards here. I found these.
Can we open them?
Yeah, let's do it. I figured let's see what's in the pack. What's in the pack? What's in the pack? Right?
What's in the pack? Is that Akeem on the front?
This is Karl Malone. Ooh, you guys!
Those are really shiny.
I just went out to Utah, right? And it's incredible when you're driving through Provo and Heber and Midway. You just see tons of Karl Malone dealerships, like everywhere, like Karl Malone GMC trucks, like everything. Oh, this guy cursed out this guy in a nightclub once. Clarence Weatherspoon.
What? How did that happen?
Baby Barkley. I was at Tonda. It was a club on 20th and Park Avenue South. And the Knicks were 18 games under 500 at Christmas. Speaking of, a little before my time, but I would have had some choice words with this individual. That's odd. I don't know if you can see that. Charles Smith.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh. That's not quite burning a jersey, but wow.
No. Brad Lojas.
Don't rip that one, Ben. It's going to be worth a lot of money. Don't.
I need a frame. Here, let's do this. I have.
What year were these, Ben?
I got this photo of me and LeBron, and we're just going to we're going to put the old Brad Lojas.
What was the backstory of you in that pic with LeBron?
This was at the Toronto Film Festival. Let's see.
Was he there for Trainwreck?
No, he was there for More Than a Game. The story about him that Chris Bellman directed about him in high school and his buddies from high school. So that was we shut down. It was in the middle of some big square. Nike blew out a whole thing, but he was at the film festival. Yes, here we go. Happy hour, big game, James.
There you go.
Nice.
Very excited. I was just with Big Game on Monday. Actually, I just did a profile on him for Golf Digest. That's
I
going to
was
be.
just going to ask, was it on a golf course?
It was, yes. I have a profile on his love of golf for Golf Digest next month.
I've heard he's good. Did you see him play?
Yeah, I've played with him a bunch over the years. He's really good. And here's the difference. Guys like us, we're just happy to find 4 hours to be able to play golf, right? James goes and plays 4 hours of golf and then goes directly to the driving range and works on his long irons for an hour and a half. It's like this.
Athletes, professional athletes. It's what they do. They want to, they like Kobe, for example, unless things changed. I remember hearing that he refused to take up golf because he's like, I'm bad at it and I don't have the time to become good at it, but I'm not going to do any type of sport that I'm bad at. So unless things changed, unless he eventually found the time, the way I heard it, Kobe didn't play golf because he's just like, I'm not going to stand for the idea of an athletic competition that I'm bad at.
Did you really curse out Clarence Weatherspoon at a club?
I did at Tonda. Yes, I did. I screamed at him. I was like 20.
For the Knicks being bad? Like, that was the reason?
That was Clarence Weatherspoon's fault?
I don't know. Maybe Barkley. Detlef Shrimp, he was really good on...
he was. Detlef was good.
He was very good on that. Somebody the other day asked me, Ryan Hollins was tweeting out something about Jason Kidd being the coach of the Knicks, and I know there's talks, and he might be the bridge to Giannis. Let me be the first to say that's insane, and it's not going to happen. I would like to see this guy get a shot as coach of the Knicks.
Is that Kenny Smith?
Kenny Smith? Yeah, that wouldn't be bad.
Do you think he wants to? Kenny Smith has such a great gig. Like, I wondered, would you leave that to go to an organization that isn't rock solid? Like, do you do that?
I mean, he's from New York. He's got family. He's got young kids. So I think raising him in the city, he'd be into. I think you're right. The idea, if you're going to leave that cushy job with Shaq and Charles, it's got to be for a great situation. I mean,
is that a great situation, Ben?
No, of course not. But people are tempted with looking into Medusa's eyes, right? Like, people are, it's something bad's going to happen, but you still can't. It's like, you got to take a peek. So Kenny's met with them a few times. I know he met with Detroit as well 2 summers ago. I don't know. Maybe it's a negotiating ploy with Turner. Maybe he's actually interested. I like the idea of it. This guy's been a great coach. I think he's in the conversation for coach of the year.
Can't see it. It's so shiny. These cards are so shiny.
Oh, Nate McMillan. Nate McMillan. Yeah. Very underrated player. He was an underrated player. Like, those Peyton McMillan backcourts, they were really, really good. They kind of get forgotten about with Peyton and Kemp.
He never scored more than 8 points a game. Let's relax.
No, but he was good, though. He was a good player. He was a good defender. He could play.
Better than you, Lions.
Buck Williams?
No. Are you talking about the guy who can shut down Marcelo Huertas? I beg to differ.
I never heard of this guy.
Nigel Knight? I don't know him.
No idea.
Like, that guy's got a basketball card. We have no idea who that guy is. He's on a basketball card. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. By the way, Ben, put some respect on Nate McMillan's name. 2-time All-Defense.
Yeah.
Put some respect on the guy's name.
No doubt.
He could probably lock up Huertas.
No, I mean, I think whoever the guest is on episode 54 could lock up Huertas.
Are you still?
You know what? That guy that we've never heard of played 276 NBA games, averaged 16.4 minutes per game, 6.2. Yeah, that guy was like had a real career.
I don't remember him.
I've never heard of him.
I have no idea who that is.
My apologies to the Knight family.
No, all good. But then we got this guy. So
I don't know who that is. Just kidding. I know.
The guy from Las Ramblas. So not a bad pack, despite the Charles Smith. You know what I mean?
Where did you find it? It was just lying around. Like, where do you have those?
I mean, this is. Come on, I got an Elena Deladon bobblehead. Yeah, bobblehead. No, I'm ready.
So
for what?
For what? Damian Lillard today said that he is concerned that some of the guys might not follow the rules when they're down there. And Andy and I have already made the joke because last week it was a big deal that they announced the security plan, and it was it's an awkward time to be talking about like the Orlando PD being down there monitoring a bunch of NBA players. It's not a good look. But you realize like when you start talking through it that really what this is a way to keep people out of the bubble. So like you right now we know exactly where the Lakers are going to be at every moment of this thing. We know what hotel they're going to be at. We know when they're practicing. Like you need real security to keep crazy people away. So Andy and I made the joke. It's to keep other people out and Kyle Kuzma in. Like those are basically how this works. But like, how right is Dame that when push comes to shove, because they're not going to like police these the NBA players, that guys really aren't going to follow the rules?
I can only speak from my own experience, having been in a bubble in Orlando once myself. I was asked to host the short-lived relaunch of my Guts on Nickelodeon. Remember Guts?
I do remember that.
Right. So I did My Family's Got Guts. We did 25 episodes over 3 weeks on a soundstage in Orlando. And I lived in Orlando in August. There's nothing to do at Turkey Lake Road. It's the world's greatest air conditioning. It hits you in the face when you walk into Ruth Chris or wherever Charlie O'Brien's on the Universal Walk or whatever. There's nothing there. So go to the golf, go fishing, Paul George, right? Dame's saying that these guys are going to go venture off. Really? Going to go to the Seminole Casino, going to go to the Hard Rock Casino? Really? I don't know. I think guys might wander off to in trying to just kind of blow off some steam somehow. But what trouble are you getting into, for fun in a traditional NBA sense?
Well, I mean, there is. I think you raise a good point, Ben, because I mean, other than what Stephen A. Smith was talking about, basically just guys are going to be looking for sex, and they're going to be looking for women, and they can't have them in the bubble. They're going to be looking outside the bubble, and just the athlete lifestyle. Remove that from it. There really isn't anything to do in Orlando. Orlando is not a particularly poppin' city. So the idea that
no, but you can find some companionship if that's all you're looking for.
Sure. Right. Yeah, you could be looking for companionship, but the point being though, if say it's good to at least not have that many temptations. It's only just the one temptation as opposed to the companionship temptation on top of the club scene temptation on top of the restaurant, all these different things. There's only so much to do in Orlando and only so much worth risking it for in Orlando. So then you just have to get through the original period before family's allowed in. And then there's going to be some very loose definition of family in terms of the people being brought in.
A lot of cousins.
Hey, guys, you know this from covering the league, especially around the postseason. When guys are on the road or they travel, they have a series, you don't have to worry about getting family tickets. Is the hotel set up for my kids? Do I have to do all this stuff that, players deal with when the travel is part of it? You remove the travel, it removes some of those distractions. But yeah, could there be some players who are looking to ride some rides that are a little bit more exciting than Magic Mountain? I think so.
Yeah, I mean, Brian and I have been joking for a while that there's going to be a lot of people who you learn, I didn't realize he had 3 sisters and they're all sharing a room. It didn't actually give them separate rooms. They're all.
What is it? It's how it works in their family. Ferris Bueller. So that's how things are in their family.
And Major League Baseball, I feel like this becomes a very NBA conversation because those guys are identified with a certain lifestyle and a certain, way that they enjoy to have recreation.
Oh, see, now here's the thing. Now, I will say all the time, and I think almost anybody who covers sports will say, baseball players are by far in this sort of area of sort of dirtbagger. I'm not talking about guys just running out and cheating on their wives and this and that, whatever. Baseball players are the worst, storing women in every town and all that. And so in that regard, you're right. They're all in Orlando. They can't go anywhere. They're only somewhere. But they're a bunch of 20-something dudes, generally with some money, who have 20-something-year-old appetites and are used to being,
getting it on. Yes,
They're used to being able to have sex a lot, like when they want to.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, it's not like all these guys are down there deep into October. Some of these guys are going to be down there for a month, 3 weeks,
No, they're all. Everybody's there for at least a month and a half, basically. If you show up,
month and a half. All right.
Unless you leave.
So Kuzma, call Josh Hartnett, 40 days, 40 nights sequel.
You saw, by the way, the pictures of Kuzma at that record release party, right?
I can't keep up with this guy anymore, guys. I can't.
The theme of this, I can't get past this because it's so funny to me. The theme of this record release party was they gave out hazmat suits, and guys and the ladies are all in hazmat suits. So basically the theme of the party is we shouldn't be having a party. It's not safe to have a party. Like, that's the theme of this party. I can't get past this because it's hilarious.
Guys, what are we doing here, right? I mean, we want, I don't know, we want to get back to normal life, but we also have to celebrate hazmat parties with Kyle Kuzma. That's just wild.
It's a strange
I think Brian is correct. The perimeter really does feel in a lot of ways like just, it's a safety measure for Kuzma. But like they can't call it the Kuzma perimeter. They just have to call it security.
But what's funny about it too is it's not, we don't need to say that like Kuz doesn't care. Like Kuz takes basketball very seriously.
No, he does. He takes basketball really serious.
But he's also, a young 20-something guy.
About that life.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So here's where I think LeBron is a real advantage for the Lakers. LeBron kind of lives his life like he's like the ultimate camp counselor. Like the guy loves activities, events, group bonding, trips to Napa. You know what I mean? Everyone go. I think he's going to do well in Orlando with like a fishing trip for the day, a golf for the day. If you can do these like team activities, rent out a restaurant and have all the wine in Orlando. You know what I mean? Like I think he'll do well in that situation. He likes those environments where some of the other guys might just, all be off on their own adventures.
Let's try this real quick. I just want, because I feel like this will be something that Ben, that you'll appreciate if we kind of give you this configuration here. We'll put JR there. We'll put you in the middle. And we'll put Bobby Bonilla on the right. Now, as a New Yorker, like this makes you feel good, right? Like you look at this, and this is everything that you need. Like this would be your talk show. Like if you could do this as your panel, you would, right?
I think we just saw the numbers go down and down and down, down into the toilet. But unfortunately, guys, this is a show from...
Sadly, there was just a drop in the Periscope. Like, literally, there was a drop in the Periscope with those two guys up there and Ben in the Knicks hat.
No, it's a show from the past.
Abort!
That's a show from the past. All I have in terms of my New York sports fandom is things that happened before I could shave.
Okay, well, you know what? We were talking about this before, because the question about Kenny Smith leaving the TNT gig to go coach the Knicks seems absolutely ludicrous. But, new dudes in charge. Worldwide Wes is there, and the Leon Rose. Can the Knicks actually, the Lakers, it wasn't that long ago. It was last summer. We were talking about the Lakers as a tire fire. So, like, are we at a place where the Knicks could learn a lot from what the Lakers have done? There's a blueprint there.
It'd be nice to get 3 number 2 picks in 4 years. That would work out nicely. For the first time in my lifetime, the New York Knicks have all of their future first-round draft picks and then some from the Dallas Porzingis trade. So you don't blow those. You actually use them for either a trade or, as Mitch used to say, well, we'll either draft a player.
We'll draft a player or trade them.
3 ways you improve a team through the draft, through free agency, or through trade.
Things the Knicks don't have bad ones of yet. They don't have any bad contracts. They don't have any picks that go to Phoenix for the Jared Mustaf trade or something, So
I don't even know who that is. Wow.
I don't know what a Jared Mustaf. But then again, I didn't know who Nigel Knight was, and he turned out to play 267 NBA games.
So, yeah, could it happen? Sure. But listen, Brian, this is an organization that after they've decided to not let Woody Allen go through the secret entrance, they thought it would be a good idea not to let Spike go.
Maybe
And
they just don't. Maybe they just don't like movies.
or maybe they also don't have an understanding of what the hell's going on in America by not being able to come out and say Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
It's really been one thing after the other with the Knicks, and just when you think it's rock bottom, something else comes up. So I'm sure whether it's Steve Stout's appearance on First Take or whatever the latest thing will be, there'll be something coming out soon.
All right, let's do this now because we want to get to a little bit of Hollywood movie stuff before the end of the show, and I want to make sure we get a chance to play the game that I prepared. It is J.R. Smith trivia, in honor of the Lakers officially signing J.R. Smith today. He will be part of the team as they head into the bubble, so what this is all J.R. Smith Knicks based trivia. So it's just about his time with
How
the
many
Knicks.
years did he play for the Knicks, Ben?
That's not one of the questions, so go ahead.
No, I'm just asking.
Well, he came at the end of the lockout, which was 2011.
Yeah.
2011. He might have come after the New Year. It might have been 2012 because he was in China ordering room service.
A lot of room service.
Google, anybody watching right now, just Google J.R. Smith China room service. And so 2012, and then he won a title. So 2012 to 2015. So it's only 3 or 4 years.
It was 3 is the correct answer. 3 full seasons with the Knicks. So here we go. It's 3 full seasons for the Knicks. This is all Knicks-based trivia. Your name, actually, I don't even think we need your name as your buzzer. We can just do this. True or false? First question. In JR's best scoring season with the Knicks, he averaged over 19.5 points a game. True or false, Ben?
I'm going to say false, a hair under that.
Andy?
I think it's also false.
You are both correct. It is false. It was 18.1 was his best scoring average.
What was his field goal percentage? What was
his field goal percentage that year? Not that high. It never was that high with the Knicks. It was...
So 18 points on 18 shots?
He shot 42% that year, which is actually not so bad. In 2013,
I expected way lower.
Right, in 2013-2014, JR shot a career-high 39.4% from three-point range. 2013-2014, J.R. Smith shot a career-high 39.4% from three-point range. Andy, you go first. True or false?
That is false.
Ben?
Well, in 2013-2014, that's the most disappointing season for Knicks fans because they were coming off 54 wins and a second-round appearance. Melo had a great statistical year that year, going 28.
Ben, the question was true or false?
Yeah, that is true because it was a weird year and JR probably balled out, but they were still talented.
That is false. J.R. Smith set a career high in three-point shooting with the 2007-2008 Denver Nuggets at 40.3%. Andy winning.
He was good on some of those Nuggets teams.
Number 3, J.R. Smith never made more than $6 million in any of his 3+ seasons with the New York Knicks. Ben, true or false? Never made more than $6 million.
You know, I hope for JR's case that is not true, but I think it is. I don't think he got paid in New York.
I think it's true. I've looked this up before. J.R. Smith has cost himself a shocking amount of money. Like he actually really...
$5.6 million was the most J.R. Smith ever made with the Knicks.
He's not hurting for money, obviously.
Shouldn't
he is,
be, at least.
He shouldn't be. He is a true 1%er. That being said, if you look up J.R. Smith's career earnings, it is shockingly lower than I think most people would expect for a guy who's been in the league as long as he has.
Oh, yeah. He just doesn't compromise, Andy, and sometimes that costs you money. He's not going to live his life the way that other people tell him to. 2012-2013, J.R. Smith finished second on the Knicks in scoring, despite only starting 11 of 82 games. Finished second on the team in scoring at 18.1. We talked about that. Despite starting only 11 of 82 games. Ben, you go first.
Yeah, for 2012-2013, well,
yes.
Consider had such deadly scorers as Chris Copeland and Pablo Prigioni. I'm going to say that is correct. He was the second leading scorer.
I didn't know he was, but listen to the whole question. Despite only starting 11 of 82 games. Okay.
Yeah. 6th man of the year. In.
I'm going to say that's also true. Ben seems very confident on this
You're both wrong. He didn't start a single game that year. 0 of 82 games. Not a single start for JR that year.
Wow.
Yeah. Again,
Feels awfully ticky-tacky. I got to be honest. Like if it had been 10, like if he'd started 10 games as opposed to 11, would we lose? Like that's
No, he
kind of
didn't
weird.
start. He started 0. He
I
started
know,
no
but I'm
games.
saying like 11 versus 0, like that's
Okay, fine. 52.
This is the reason why Mike Woodson's name is being thrown around again as a possible coach because of this genius plan.
Despite making 288 three-pointers over the course of his playoff career, Smith hit only 23 as a Knick, shooting 24.5% from three-point land over 16 games as a Knick. True or false, Andy?
I think that's false.
All right, Ben?
Sure. I mean, he was terrible. He wore all black in game 5, and then they lost.
That is 100% true. He hit 23 three-pointers in his 16 postseason games as a Knick, shot 24.5% from three.
I should have realized that something like this would be put out there just to torture Ben. It's true. I should have realized it's true.
All right, here we go. It's tied at 3. Number 6, or number 7, I should say. Despite his reputation, during the 12-13 season, on a per 36-minute basis, Smith finished second on the team in assist percentage, despite behind only Bino Udrih. So people think that JR never passes, but despite his reputation that season, 2012-2013, finished second on the team in assist percentage behind only Bino Udrih. True or false, Ben?
Great table setters on that team, like Ray Felton and Pablo Prigioni, and Shumpert really knew how to move the ball. I'm going to say that that's false. Somebody else had to have some more time. Benno was really number one.
Benno was number one in assist percentage, yes.
Got to be Prigioni
Assist
at 2.
per 36, yes. Andy?
No.
I'm going to say that's false. That sounds
is
made
false.
up.
He was behind Bino, Felton, Prigioni, and can you name the fourth person for a bonus point, Ben? It's another guard.
Oh, okay. Steve Novak doesn't count.
Toure Murray.
Oh, wow.
Much
All right. J.R. Smith is second in all-time games behind a guy Okay, let me start this again. J.R. Smith is second in all-time games by a guy named Smith in Knicks history. So he's played the second most games by anyone whose last name is Smith in Knicks history. Who is first? Andy.
Got to be Charles Smith first.
It's got to be Charles Smith is first.
Charles Smith is the correct answer. It is 4-4. We only have a couple of questions left. True or false?
Hold on, we just have half the Charles Smith card.
True or false? J.R. Smith has more shot attempts as a Knick than all other Smiths combined.
True.
J.R. Smith has more shot attempts as a Knick than all other Smiths combined. True or false? Ben.
I think he had more shot attempts than Charles Smith, and we already talked about Chris Smith, who never got in the game. So I think this is like a trick question. I would say it's true. Yeah, he
Andy.
shot more.
I refuse to believe that's not true, even if it's not true. It's true.
It is in fact not true, but it just seems so true that I wanted
I
to
refuse
include
to
it.
believe that it's
All
not.
right, it's 4-4, and here's what we're going to do. We're gonna come up with a winner by doing this. Knockout style, name categories where J.R. Smith is the leader among Smiths in Knicks history. We established that he is not the leader in all-time games played. He is behind Charles Smith. Major statistical categories, we're not talking about per or VORP or things like that. But among Smiths who have played for the Knicks, name categories where JR is the all-time leader. We'll start with Ben. Just one at a time.
Turnovers.
No. Charles Smith has more career turnovers
Well,
than
if you
JR.
count that one play.
Oh my God, we got to get a screen grab of you leading in. Looks like a Beastie Boys video. All right, Andy, all you need to do is name one category where J.R. Smith is the all-time leader among New York Knicks, and you beat Ben Lyons in J.R. Smith Knicks trivia. Let's hear it.
I'm going to say 3-point attempts.
3-point attempts is exactly one of the things. I also would have accepted minutes. J.R. Smith had played more minutes as a Knick than Charles, just not more games.
Hit you with base is what it is. Though.
Minutes per game, field goals, field goal attempts. that one. 3-pointers, 3-point attempts. leader among Smiths in assists. So, steals, points,
Literally
and points per
but
game. Basically everything but turnovers. So,
Yeah.
Andy Kamenetsky, congratulations. You have beat
Excellent.
Ben
Feel
Lyons.
excited about the J.R. Smith era already.
Trivia.
Yeah, no, it's a perfect segue into this next chapter and in the basketball journey unlike any other. So enjoy as he becomes a Laker and hoists a championship in front of a gym of nobody.
Wow, now you're bitter. Jeez, man.
I mean, he adds to the list of ex-Knicks who go on to win championships. There's a laundry list.
Look at him praying to the heavens for another title, this time with the Lakers.
Look at the people behind him. You got Tyson Chandler, Kenyon Martin. Is that Quentin Richardson?
Yeah, it might have been.
Is that
Q?
He
came back a second time. Right, he did.
Yeah, that's Q. That's absolutely Q.
Yeah,
framed up pretty nice there in the crook of JR's arm.
Guys, when I was at the NBA Finals in 2018 and saw Nick Young guarding J.R. Smith, I didn't think basketball could get any better. And now I'm going to a lineup of Dion Waiters, potentially Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, KCP, and J.R. Smith. It's fantastic.
All right, Andy, you had some questions about Hollywood.
Yeah, Ben, you and I were talking a little bit on the phone before the show about how Christopher Nolan, the director, seems very determined to have the movie Tenet with John David Washington and Robert Pattinson. Looks like a very Christopher Nolan-y movie. Not just get a theatrical release, but a 2020 theatrical release. And it keeps getting pushed back, which is just an indicator of everything the theatrical industry is going through right now in COVID. What do you think the immediate future holds in terms of as an industry with movie theaters? How much do you think studios are going to be trying to hang on to this? How selective are they going to be?
Sadly, it was a dying business before this, guys, and a really kind of lopsided business where the big tentpole films were keeping everybody else afloat. Star Wars and the Avengers could keep the ArcLight open because Stuber wasn't bringing in the big bucks. So, I think you're going to see a resurgence in. Am I losing you? Are we clear?
No. We're good.
We're just listening.
We're going to see a resurgence in drive-ins. Honestly, down the street here at Pasadena, the Rose Bowl, they just did a deal with Tribeca Cinemas. They're going to be doing drive-in movies Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all
That's
summer.
That's a great idea. That's a really great idea.
Gordon, Michael B. just partnered with the ArcLight to do a drive-in theater, and I think San Bernardino, maybe.
Okay.
And he'll be programming movies at a drive-in all summer, vintage titles, new titles. So I think the traditional theater experience is, I know that we all love it, and you guys really love it as parents too, something to do on the weekends with the kids. That's going to be gone. It really is. And I think you'll see specialty theaters. You'll see maybe configured seating but I'm really bummed because there's nothing I love more on a Friday night than seeing a movie I've been reading about for years and going in the theater, or going to a film festival and packing into a makeshift theater.
Taking pictures with LeBron. I mean, that's just what you do.
Nothing says independent cinema like this.
The thing that I really have disliked about seeing, everything moving more towards, streaming or, people waiting for Netflix, that sort of thing, is just that communal experience. We're losing it, especially in a world where it feels like we're becoming more isolated anyway. Even before quarantine, and COVID pushed us all into our own homes, it felt like we were losing a lot of just that interactive life, that had been going away. And movies was always one of the ways that we came together, and we may be losing that. And I don't like seeing that. I think it actually affects movies.
When you go to the drive-through or drive-in, all people do at the drive-in is make out. So it's that doesn't count.
No, but it's Andy, you're so right, man. That idea of community being lost, whether it's sports, whether it's these concerts. I know you love going to shows, whether it's those things that kind of are touch points in our lives that we can use as the demarcation of time. If we lose those and we're just watching the Five Bloods on our own time and you're not in the right headspace to watch it like I am, and then we can't really have a conversation about the latest Spike Lee film. We all miss that experience so much of going to the theater. But I think we have to come to terms with the fact that it's not going to look the same ever again.
But you know
And
what? But how much of this is just an accelerant, Ben? Because it was getting hard to go to the theater. Like, yeah, you know, you
sure,
talk about kid stuff or whatever. Even like, you know, we go to the Cinemark in Baldwin Hills, where for kids it's like $6.50. If you want to get the really fancy screen, like the you know, all the bells and whistles, it's like $7.50. An adult ticket is like $10. It is as inexpensive as you can get. And by the time you get a couple snacks, you do whatever, it's still like a $40 afternoon, 40 or $50. And if the movie kind of sucks, like that's a bit, you're starting to talk about like a lot of money. You go like a primetime The Grove or like a big theater or something like that, you're easily spending $100. So
well,
I feel like some of this stuff is going away.
But I think you're going to have now new ways to offer menu items at a different price, right? So let's say I was so excited to see the new 50 Shades of Grey. Like, I'm so excited. I want to go.
Such a pervert.
Right? Why not charge $100 to see it Thursday night at home? I can invite some friends over or whatever. And then if you want to go see it in the theater, that gives it some momentum going in. Or if you guys are parents and you want to watch Moana 2 at home, you'll pay $60 for that. I mean, people were paying money for Trolls.
So it's like
we did it.
How much did Trolls cost? It was like $20, right?
I think it was $20 to buy. Yeah,
$25, something like that.
But then you
if
keep
you
it,
think
right?
about it, that's cheaper.
No,
than
you don't keep it.
That was a rental.
Yes, it was. It was a rental. We did not keep Troll.
Wow.
You don't keep it when you go to the ArcLight and watch it for 2 hours, right?
Well, I do, but you know, little iPhone action right there. Take that straight to the streets of Shanghai when I'm done with it.
That's the thing, man. It's like, you know, like, will I stay at home and spend $20 to watch a new Scorsese film? But now Scorsese's doing his films on Netflix. And so if the top filmmakers are going to continue to go to the streaming platforms because they know that their work can be made at the level they want it to and get that awards push, I think it's going to be harder and harder for studios to get us to get off the couch, get a babysitter, drive, park, get snacks, buy a ticket, and do the whole thing.
There are still people that I'm not sure in The Irishman because I haven't made it that far in the movie. Like the people keep telling me who's in that film. I'm like, I don't think so. I haven't seen him yet. I know Joe Pesci's in it and Robert De Niro. Those are the only two people I know that are in that movie. That's it.
But if Spike Lee and Scorsese and Alfonso Cuarón are all coming to Netflix, like, you know, and Ava DuVernay, like, why should anyone else not? Like, it's the top filmmakers in the game.
Yeah, I mean, the issue isn't that like Amazon or Hulu or Netflix can't create good quality in that delivery system. A lot of what they do is really good. But again, though, it's that experience of going into the theater, you know, reacting off the reactions of the people seated around you. And also, too, like Brian said, like the expense now of seeing a movie. Like, I remember when I was in like my 20s and even my early 30s, movies were still inexpensive enough that there could be something like, well, it looks all right, but you know what? Why not? Because you're talking about like, you know, $7 to get in the theater. You know, maybe, you know, you could do a matinee for like $5. It's like, well, it doesn't look great. The reviews haven't been great, but I'm curious, why not? Now it's like $15, $20 for it looks okay. I'm not doing it. Like you'd rather wait, and you could probably rent it, then buy it through Amazon Prime for the same amount that it would cost you to go to the theater, park, get a snack. Like the same amount of curiosity that I know all three of us have with movies can't be exercised in the same way now in the theater because it becomes cost prohibitive.
No, and you're absolutely right. And it's like the things that bring you to the movies that I know that you like are the things that unfortunately aren't the drives tons of people to the theater in big numbers, right? So if you're to charge $20 for a ticket, I want to see aliens and things blowing up, and I want to see set pieces, and that tends to be
it's got to be something that where the experience is actually better there. It's like what the dirty little secret of the NFL is that the in-stadium experience in the NFL is way worse than what's on TV.
Right.
Like the TV product is way worse. And what you need with movies, most of the time movies, you know, the average movie can be watched on a TV and it's fine. Like, you know, it's fun to see things on the big screen, but you don't necessarily have to. There are only some of them now where, you know, especially now in a world where TVs are so good and generally can be pretty big. And you don't have to be really rich anymore to have like a really nice big TV. Like you can get one at Target for $300. I mean, it's like they're not just for super rich people anymore. There are only a handful of movies now that really do need to be seen on a big screen with the surrounds, like, and all that stuff. Like, just there aren't that many.
Like a
We've
TV like
gotten
this.
too good.
Here's
Yeah.
a big TV.
Look at that. Look at that television.
And like it comes with you like on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you're a terribly wealthy man, Ben. I mean,
that TV actually is platinum. Like
Right.
the frame around the screen, it's
Right,
actually solid platinum.
it's hard to tell because like you just look, but like that TV is actually a 200-inch television. It's just the size of Ben's wall. That's also massive.
Yeah. So there you go. There's the TV.
Yeah.
Warren G.
Like what's also too, what's going to happen with the festivals? Like, how is that going to work now? Like, what are they doing? Like, how many are still being planned for, even tentatively, like in the fall and stuff?
So I did a live stream today with my friends who run a festival called Holly Shorts. It's a big short film festival here, and they've pivoted and they're doing their stuff primarily online this year. They used to take over the Grauman's Chinese and do the whole thing, but now they're going to offer that stuff online, which for their audience of short films is advantageous to them. It gives them more eyeballs. But for a traditional festival like Sundance just announced this year, they made an announcement this week that they're going to be offering select programming in 20 satellite cities. So they're going to find ways to hyper focus certain programming and incentivize people and make the festival available remotely to like 20 different markets, in addition to trying to get people hopefully out to Park City in some small capacity. Because here's the thing about film festivals, it's not just about providing the platform for the films to garner interest within the industry. There are towns and economies that benefit on all the yokels like me showing up and staying in their hotels and spending money in their restaurants for a week. So if 100,000 people don't show up at Park City for a weekend in January, it takes a big chunk out of the economy. So I think that's where ultimately film festivals are going to have their biggest impact felt, is that, now in Telluride, Labor Day weekend doesn't have people coming in and buying out catering and doing private parties and paying for Ubers and all these things. So I worry about that because I know the films will find an audience, whether they're streamed, downloaded, iTunes, they'll find their audience, probably a bigger audience now from being able to be remote. But for the people who are impacted by like the economy of festivals, I think it's going to be a tough go of it for a little bit.
No, it's a microcosm similar to what the arena workers are going through with the loss of sports. I mean, like that type of economy, or like for Staples Center, the economy surrounding it. Like LA Live was built around Staples Center's existence, and then the other theaters that were built in that plaza. But it really doesn't. I mean, right now is not a time where people can freely go to restaurants anyway. But LA Live does not really function without Staples Center.
No. Wolfgang Puck is a tremendous restaurateur, but that guy has no chance of staying open if the Clippers, Kings, Sparks, and Lakers and concerts aren't happening.
Yeah, certainly, especially when you consider what kind of rents and stuff people pay, downtown and things like that. So,
it's a crazy time, man. But then the movie business is not does not get a hall pass to have to pivot. Like, it's got to reinvent itself. It's like, Brian, you said, these things were going on before the pandemic.
What they choose to do with like a movie like Mulan when that finally comes out, like when do you finally just say screw it, we're going to make it come out? Because are you better off owning like this little section, like, hey, we're the only movie out? Like, the flip side is like, do you think
like a little movie called Unhinged on July 17th that's still slated to enter theaters with Russell Crowe? Feels like exactly what people are looking for right now in these fraught times. A movie about Russell Crowe as a road rager gone seriously insane, like the most insane case of road rage we've ever seen. That feels like what people are looking for.
Saying that movie is going to open on July 17th is the exact same feeling as like the NFL going, sure, we're going to have a 17-week season that starts in September. Of course we are. What are you people talking about?
Yeah, and Russell Westbrook can totally just wear polo shirts down in the bubble. He'll be fine.
That was one of my favorite parts about the whole Orlando thing was that now allowed on the bench will be long sleeve polo shirts players who aren't playing can wear. How many NBA players do you think own long sleeve polo shirts? Like I am not a hip dresser. I'm not super fashion for. I think I dress reasonably well, and I do not own long sleeve polo shirts. And I'm a middle-aged white guy, so it's like they don't. NBA dudes, come on.
I would run upstairs and go get you my long sleeve polo shirt, but I know we don't have much time here. But the idea of, is Steve Novak still in the league? Because the idea of him wearing one, I could see. But other than that,
how much clothes do you think Russ is bringing?
That's the thing, right? I mean, if Houston's going to win a playoff series, we're looking at like 30, 40 outfit changes over the course of it.
He's still taking the walk seriously.
Well, think about this. It opens up a whole new can of worms because Fashion Week's in September, right? So you have Fashion Week, Men's Fashion Week in Paris. You have that going on in September.
That is a spectacular marketing crossover.
Men's Fashion Week. I'm sorry, guys. Forgive me. Men's is in the spring, but there is Fashion Week going on in September.
Okay. If it's being done like remotely, obviously Russell can figure out participation from Orlando in some way. But and look, we should all root for this because it means that we're getting, gradually better with COVID and getting more of a handle on the virus. If Fashion Week is actually able to happen in France, does it distract Westbrook if he's still inside the bubble? Like is his head elsewhere if Houston's in the middle of the series and he feels like he could be missing Fashion Week?
It depends. Are they going to be like on the early set of games or the late set of games? Because they might be live streaming a show from Paris, the time difference, 7 hours ahead of Orlando, the Dior show. I don't know. You might miss that.
If you really want to undermine the Rockets as a team, you just start giving away spoilers, like sending pictures to Russ's phone.
I just feel like he's going to be upset if he can't be there. I mean, this is something that Russell Westbrook, he prepared, before the pandemic, he had his hotel booked.
I'm curious with how these guys travel throughout the year and take this fashion stuff this serious with stylists and support. Are they going to have the runway walks and do the whole thing? I don't know, man. Part of me wants this to happen so we can see something we've never seen. But part of me is like, what are we doing here, guys? We're arguing over if Russell's going to be fashionable during a pandemic. I mean, who cares?
I want some of these guys walking into these games like Billy Porter at the Met Ball. I just want something completely absurd. I want people going, how the hell did they get that to Orlando? Because there's nothing else for them to do. This is a constructive way to spend. You were worried, Dame Lillard is worried about how they're going to spend their time. Do it this way. Come up with bleep to wear when you walk into the Disney Wide World of Sports arena. Just do it that way.
It'd be nice to see them just be like, hey, I was down here in Orlando. They didn't have anything, and just come through with the sensible J. Crew outfits.
The long sleeve. All they have is this long sleeve polo shirt.
That's where you'll know that guys are just really getting depressed inside the bubble. As if after 2 weeks they've stopped trying with the outfits.
LeBron doesn't pass out those Tom Ford suits. He gives everyone a long sleeve polo.
Wait a minute. Your suit has full pants in it? You must be really losing it.
Larry Nance's face wearing those things is still one of my favorite things of all time.
I firmly believe that was LeBron giving middle fingers to that team and having to carry them. He was actually just humiliating those guys so everyone could understand what he was dealing with. I absolutely believe that.
I think LeBron's going to really rise to the occasion with the activities. He's a dad with a lot of kids. He knows how to kill time with people with short attention spans. I think he's going to come up with fun team building exercises.
We're going to see all the Lakers in face masks chant Taco Tuesday, aren't we, at some point from Orlando? They're all going to be at a long table, socially distanced. 1, 2, 3, Taco Tuesday.
I think the social distance thing is important. I actually don't think the Lakers are going to allow anybody within 6 feet of LeBron, including opponents. It's going to be someone's job to make sure nobody ever gets within 6 feet of LeBron James.
You think the hand-checking rules
teammates, opponents, nobody gets inside that. He's got his own little bubble.
Jared Dudley's down there just to keep people away from LeBron.
Right. All right, Ben, we are officially out of time because the thing stops for sure at 11:10. Thank you for coming back on. We will call you again at episode 106 when assuming we're still doing this. It's been 53. This is very exciting. VSLiquor.com, Sydney Kings, 15% off your first order, whether you are a Sydney Kings fan or a Lakers fan. Tomorrow night, Alden Gonzalez, Take Two. We'll try that again with him, talking Major League Baseball and the NFL. Ben Lyons,
Thanks,
everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Here's the last of the Charles Smith card. Let me just.
Ooh, wow. Beef.
All right.
Beef.